Hi crafters, this is Raquel with Paints and Glitter, and today I'm coming along with the Sweet Spring basket from Tonic Studios. This is a 31-piece die set. It is absolutely darling, and I'm going to share with you the pieces first, and it's going to be super easy to assemble. First, you have a base piece and also a lid piece. So the base is actually this one here, and it has all of these little notches, and I'll explain how those work once we start the assembly. But there's also a lid piece that is a little bit larger here. Then there are 4 side pieces that look like this, and those little notches that are on that base coincide with these here so that it does look like a little basket. Then there are also 4 side pieces for the lid that look like this, and this little scallop portion is decorative, so you do have layers here that you can use, whether it be the solid or you can use both, and those are going to give you a really gorgeous result. Then of course there is a handle. So that's this long piece here, and you can use all of these little openings in this die to color your handle, which is what I've done, and I'll show that to you in a moment. Then there are pieces here that will allow you to create both a strawberry box, so that's what you'll use, or the box that looks like a strawberry, I should say. And then there's the little greenery that you'll place on top, and to be able to create a lid portion for this and a base, what you'll use are the 2 hexagons included. Super easy. Then if you just want to create a strawberry that's simple and easy, just all one piece, you'll use this one, which is a little bit more elongated, and still the little hexagons as well as the greenery. Simple enough there. To make the carrot box, what you'll use are the small and medium dies, and then for the lid you'll use a larger hexagon, the same as the strawberry. Then if you want to make the singular carrot without a lid, you can use this more elongated one, and then the same thing applies where you'll use the large hexagon for that. And this just closes down to a little point, so you won't need that smaller one. And you also have some circle dies here, and these are going to come in handy for you, as well as the little tag. And this little tag here, you can change the sentiments for. So there's one that says sweet gift, another one that says very nice, and then this one says keep calm and carrot on. So if you like punny sentiments, you're going to enjoy that. Then these 2, by the way, deboss into your paper, so those do not cut, and then this one does. There's also this one here that will cut 2 little circles. These are purely decorative, but then these here, you're going to be cutting out for the handle to be able to move. You have 2 kinds of leaves. These here are for your carrot, and then you have these here that you can of course use for your little flowers, and there are 3 separate types of flowers. This one, by the way, is the flower for the strawberry plant. So I'm going to get started, and I'll share with you how to put this together. To begin creating your basket, you're going to need 4 panels that look like this. I'm using 300 GSM card from Tonic Studios, and I'm also decorating mine using the Cherished Moments paper collection from Tonic. This is the 200 GSM cardstock that is absolutely darling, and it is double-sided, so I'll be using this checkered print. Then for the base, you only need 2 pieces of card in 300 GSM if you'd like to, and what I've done already is decorate one of them using that same beautiful paper. So for this portion, what I did is cut away a little portion here that has a score line, and I've also cut away the bottom because this will need to be folded, as well as the little tab on the side. So just adhere this. And I'm enjoying the use of this spatula from Tonic Studios to spread out the adhesive evenly. Super easy. And then once you have that adhered, go ahead and fold that bottom portion as a mountain fold and burnish that. You'll be doing the same with the little tabs on the top. Just be sure to do it right along that score line. Once those are all folded, take your piece here that will be for the base and line up the little notches with the ones on the side pieces. That way you can adhere these on all four sides. And of course you can decorate the inside if you'd like to as well, the same way that you do the outside. I'm going to bring that right to that fold line, and once I have it situated there, because I'm using heavy card, then I'm going to burnish it. Once you've adhered all four sides, you can flip this over, and this is where you can finish this off with a second piece of card, so that way you get a nice sturdy base to this box. Once you've adhered that, you can flip that over again. And now just focus on these little side tabs to finish adhering the sides. And of course, you'll match it up to the adjacent panel. So you will have a bit of an opening here because it's going to look like an actual fruit basket that you would find at the market. Okay, so that comes together rather easily. I really love the size of this. If you're curious, by the way, this is going to be quite substantial. So the opening here is 4.5 inches wide. The base is 4 inches. So you get to see how big this actually is before I've even decorated it. And then it's also just under 4 inches tall. So 3 15/16 inches tall. To create the lid for your box, you'll cut out 4 pieces that look like this. The scallop portion is going to face down, and you can decorate it with the dies included. One of them will cut out a solid piece. The other one you can use in conjunction with the verso die, and it will cut out those beautiful little flowers. And of course you can layer these together. I wanted to decorate the centers of the little flowers as you see here with little pearls. So I'll be using some hot glue and just attaching those right at the center of each little flower here. And you don't need much. You can use double-sided tissue tape from Craft Perfect if you like to adhere the little strips once you've gotten all the pearls on them. And then just make sure that you adhere these following these score lines that the die will create. That way they're nicely situated there. Once these are fully adhered, you can now burnish them. So the fold lines here are all going to be mountain, 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 and then these two will be valley. So you can fold and burnish this. Just be careful, of course, if you're going to be adding dimensional embellishments. Okay, again, that'll be a mountain fold. These will be valley folds. And then this will be a mountain fold. So be sure to repeat that with all of the side pieces. Once all of your side strips are prepared, you'll be adhering them end to end using this folded portion. Once you have this nice long strip, you can then fold it and complete the construction here. This will close it off. To make sure that you're adhering these corners properly, one tip I'm going to give you is that one of these tabs will end in a square and the other will be at a diagonal. You want all of the diagonals to face the top of that square. Okay, so once you've situated all of your tabs as such, then go ahead and position your paper so that these two little half moon tabs adhere together. So you'll have to play around with your paper a little bit to get it all situated. Now you can apply adhesive to that half moon tab, just the bottom one. Situate your papers, make sure it's at a 90-degree angle there in that corner. So what I'm going to be doing is sneaking a little bit of adhesive right underneath that little piece of paper there to make sure that I get that little angle adhered. And it's going to be visible from the back here. So I am going to make sure that that's at a really good angle there and then press that paper together. So at this point, if you have assembled all four corners of your lid, what I'm going to tell you is that the instructions call for you to place adhesive on the inside of this basket. I've already done 3 sides using the Craft Perfect tissue tape. This is that double-sided adhesive again. And I just placed a little strip right along the top edge. And the idea here is that this will feed on top by, and I'm going to flip this over, by having the basket fit with those 4 corners facing the inside. Now, I think it's because of the weight of the paper that I've used that mine is fitting quite snug. And what I can show you is that it will fit. It's just going to be a nice snug fit depending on the paper that you have used. But this is how I was able to feed mine in. Now mine is buckling a tiny bit here, as you can see. And again, that's because of the thickness, I think, of the paper. But if you do want to adhere that, then you are going to have to place adhesive right along this edge. And I'm going to give it a try. Of course, you can use liquid adhesive if you're more comfortable with that. I'm going to try 2 sides. Well, I'm going to try it. Just like to be transparent here on this channel regarding these things. Take the liner off. So I guess my feedback is to use the Craft Perfect 80-pound paper for this portion and then reserve your 300 GSM for the base. I think that's going to make life a little bit easier. But I am going to feed this now here. And I'm using my hands to kind of just coach this paper along the corners because I don't want to rip it in any way. But it's a little bit tricky when you have adhesive already in there. Okay, so there it is. All right, I managed to get it in there. And now I'm going to press on this paper. And I'm getting one side that I'm not entirely happy with, but you got my feedback. I'm just going to press on that. And it should be completely flat, but I did get a tiny little crease there because this paper is 300 GSM. It's the only reason why. But you should definitely get a nice adhesion all the way around. And what I'm doing is pressing like this. It's easy enough. And because I know that my adhesive's already in there, then I know that this isn't going to move. So from this viewpoint here, I just have a tiny little crease there. If that bothers me a lot, all I have to do now is cut a little strip and decorate the insides, and no one will be the wiser. But just a word for the wise there. Now for the lid portion, you only need one piece that is this square that has the oval corners. I have cut another piece here that's decorative, and I'm going to be placing this on top. This fits right on the inside, just like that. That completes the actual box. However, you do want to have some little handles. Now, to be able to add this, what I did was that I cut this out of the white 300 GSM card, and then as I had mentioned previously, you can decorate it with the little openings on the die. So I just took some Nuvo embellishment mousse. This happens to be in the color Pink Unicorn. What I did was to place my die right on top of the die cut. Once that's positioned as such, you can take a small brush, and that's what I did. I just took a little small brush, added my Nuvo mousse, and then just pounced it right on top of the paper to get this result, which I think is so cute. To add this to your basket, however, you're going to need 2 large circles and 4 of these small ones. The small ones are going to stack together. To add the handle to this little basket, I actually removed 2 of the little pearls on opposite sides. And now that you have your 2 small circles adhered, all you have to do is place these right in the center, just like so. And I'm going to repeat that on the opposite side. So again, these are the 2 smaller ones. And I'm using hot glue because I find that to be a little bit easier. Then you're going to position your handle so that it fits right above that, just like so. And here's where you're going to adhere your larger circle, making sure that you only add adhesive right to the very center. So this will go right on top, covering that. And you want to make sure that your handle can move. Place the other end of that. Place a very small, tiny little amount of adhesive here, and very quickly add the second circle right on top. Okay, obviously what's going to be super cute about this box is that you can then decorate it and fill it to your heart's content with these darling little strawberries. So you can create them so that they're solid, such as this one, purely for decorative purposes, or you can make them so that they themselves are little boxes, such as this one. Most of these I've used with the decorative papers I mentioned earlier. However, this one here, I did decorate using the little holes there that are in the die. I simply took Nuvo markers and colored right through them, and then I took other little pens from my stash and highlighted these. One of them was the new white gel pen from Nuvo. So if you like to add little highlights to your die cuts, this is a perfect pen for that. The other thing that I did was to add a little bit of Nuvo crystal glaze. And of course, in lieu of that, you can use different drops. For instance, this one is the red berry crystal drop. To create a singular strawberry such as this one here, you do need 6 side pieces that you'll cut out using the more elongated die. You want to run them with your paper creaser along the side, just like that. and then fold all of the tabs as a mounted fold. Once those are ready, you need a large hexagon and a small one. If you want to, you can double it up as I have. I like a nice sturdy finish to my projects. The larger hexagon will go toward the larger triangle. So you can simply line these up, line the edge of that hexagon to the wider edge of your die cut and make sure that it folds nicely. Repeat that 6 times around. This is now going to look a bit like a flower, so you can flip that over if you'd like to, and this is why I like to cut 2. I'm going to use this to finish off the top. This makes for an easier construction. Now I'm going to apply adhesive on all of these tabs. And I like to place at least 3. And then what you want to do is maintain that curve. So I do suggest adhering the last one first and then working your way back. And you want to avoid those little gaps. So just hold on to that paper as you're adhering it, because then you can maneuver those little tabs a little bit. And I do recommend the Craft Perfect paper here, or if you're going to use that decorative paper, it is a little bit heavier, but it will work just fine. Now you're getting to this point here where you want to maintain the curve in that paper, but you can't necessarily fit maybe your fingers inside of here. So this is where I switch over to a Nuvo marker and just place that right inside and use that to reach the bottom of that die cut, and then also serve as a landing place for me to apply pressure here. Then you can adhere the last one the same way. This time you're going to sneak in a little bit of that adhesive. So that's why I didn't do the last 2 panels right away, only the first 3, because you want to be a little bit more careful to apply this really nicely. Keep your angles the way that you want them. Okay, once you reach this point, you can go ahead and cover this. So I am going to use both of those just because I want it to be nice and sturdy. So I'm going to apply adhesive on all 6 of those little tabs. Place this right on top. Once you're happy with that, you can cover that up with your pretty paper. Again, I've used the white gel pen just to color around the edges to give it a little more shabby look. You can also take your paper creaser and curl them up a little bit, just holding it right on that circular tab there. Once you've done that, you'll get that pretty curl. Apply adhesive on one of them and then overlap one on top of the other. Place adhesive right in the little center there, and this can finish off your little strawberry there. You'll be assembling the carrots in the same fashion. The difference will be the little ending here will not require this portion. It'll just be a nice fine tip. To create the little box, you'll need 6 portions that are smaller, 6 portions that are the medium size. Of course, as I said before, you can decorate them to your heart's content. And be sure to not skip this step, creating that nice curve Once you have that done, fold all of your little tabs as mountain folds. Do that for all 12. To create the lid, you're going to actually take the larger hexagon right to the edge of that hexagon. Repeat that all the way around. You can see how I'm overlapping the paper so that the little tabs face the inside. Just makes it a whole lot easier, and that's why you want to fold the paper before you begin. Once you have this piece, flip it over and finish the top with your pretty hexagon. Now adhere the 2 tabs on the sides. In this case, I am going to apply adhesive on 3 at a time. Adhere the adjacent tab, making sure that that bottom corner there is nicely adhered without overlapping to maintain that pretty curve in the paper. So curve the panel before you adhere it. Once that lid is assembled, now, of course, you can decorate the top. Here I have those little leaves again. Burnish them one more time to curl them. This time around, I am using a glitter card from the Heritage line of papers that are at Tonic Studios US. So if you want to check those out, they're really pretty. This is an ombre glitter card. We can set that aside to dry, and let's work on the bottom portion. Here you want to adhere the smaller triangle to the edge of the smaller hexagon. Now you can, of course, flip that over and apply your second little hexagon to the center. Make sure you line it up correctly. And here you're going to repeat the same steps by applying adhesive to your tabs and then adhering them to the adjacent panel, making sure that your little curve is maintained. Once you reach this point with the bottom half of your strawberry, you now have these tabs on the top. On these, you want to add adhesive on the inside because it's going to reinforce this little box. Give it a nice finish. And you want to fold those in. Be sure to hold that paper as it's drying. Of course, here you can also take your paper creaser if you like and just burnish that gently. Just to make sure that your paper is making full contact there. And this creates the bottom portion, which you can now join with the top. And that's as easy as that. It's so cute. I love these. I think they're so adorable. So of course you can decorate this further. So let me show you what else is inside. I'm going to try to alternate these a little bit. Maybe leave one off to the side. There are other pieces to this collection. There's the little sentiment tag I had mentioned. So what I did was that I cut out the one that says "Very Nice," and using the sentiment die, you want to cut out your pretty paper first, then run it through with that sentiment, because if not, it's not going to fit. So don't try to use two dies together. It will not work for this. So word to the wise, you don't want to try that because you will ruin it, and I would hate for that to happen. Okay, so that's one of the sentiments. Then there are little flowers that you can cut out. What I've done is that I used a jelly roll pen to create a little bit of shimmer on the portions that are embossed directly onto the paper. I also cut them out of vellum. And then in this instance, what I did, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So for these little vellum flowers, what I did is that I used the new adhesive pen. This is a little glue pen from Nuvo, and I just drew around the little lines that were embossed on here, and then I took some foil from Tonic and placed it right on top. So now my little pieces of vellum here have foil on them for a little added shine. So just be sure that your adhesive is tacky, and then you can apply that. Then there are little flowers that have these little petals that you can cut out. There are also these little flowers, and to create these you do need two separate dies so that little star portion fits in the center. I've gone ahead and adorned these as well using Nuvo drops. Let me show you how to make one of those. So here I have my little brush that I used on this with a little bit of Nuvo. Use a little bit of mousse on that little brush. You don't need a lot. I like to use the lid to kind of clean it off a little. And then all I did was to pounce this on the center of the flower. Now the die has an opening there. If you want the texture, just place the die on top of your paper and flip it over and use a stylus and press onto that paper, and you're going to get that really beautiful embossing. The alternative, of course, is to run it through your die cutting machine using your embossing plate. I find it a little bit easier to just do that. Then you can use the center portion. So I'm going to just place that right in the center. I just wanted a nice soft finish to these. And of course, if you want to, you can burnish the edges or just flip them up with your fingers. It's up to you. But it's such a pretty little flower. Then there are other leaves that you can use. I've cut mine out of that ombre glitter card that I had mentioned in different colors. So you can add these behind your pretty flowers. So I've threaded my little sentiment with a piece of cord here, and I'm just going to add it here with a little bit of adhesive. What I'll do is add some dimensional adhesive so that it's easier to add it to the handle. So I'm actually going to add this right to this handle here. There we go. All right, so I've added the little tag here to the side. And of course, these are going to move around until I position them. And then here, I'm going to be adding a little bow that I've made with seam binding. And that's just going to adorn that. I think I'm going to adorn the opposite side with the flowers. So I'll be covering up that little circle portion here with one of them and then work up from there into the sides, making sure that it does not touch the handle. One of my little flowers there. And because this glitter card has a little bit of a coating, it's just a little bit easier to work with the hot glue for the sake of time. I'm going to layer my vellum and pink flowers together. One of them ripped a little bit, but that's going to be fine. We'll still be able to use it. So these I have shaped slightly. If you can tell, they're a little bit cupped, and that's because I used a stylus and just pressed onto the center of these little flowers, which is super easy. I have several videos showing how to make flowers on this channel, so if you want to take a peek at any one of those. Okay, so I've strategically placed my little flowers here so that this is kind of held up by the positioning of the petals and the leaves. So don't forget that you can always do that. Just curl your pieces of paper as you need to. And then of course you can embellish the centers with any drops that you'd like to. And add glitter as you like. I'm going to probably be doing that here because I want this to have a real shabby look. So the way that I do that is that I do use the crystal glaze and then I just throw bunches of glitter all over my paper, and that completes the assembly of this little basket. I find it to be absolutely darling. I always say this is my new favorite, but it really does feel that way. So let me zoom out here so you can see. This is the little pad that I use to shape my flowers, by the way, so that's just super easy to do. And of course, the results are absolutely fabulous when you have everything put together with all the cute little things added to it. I've enjoyed this thoroughly. I think the papers do really lend a soft and beautiful touch to this, of course. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll go ahead and link it below so you can take a peek at this paper collection. I just think it's so cute. And yeah, this has been a lot of fun. So of course now you can go ahead and fill this with some little sweets or maybe a little ring or jewelry, that sort of thing. It depends on, of course, who the recipient is. Oh my gosh, I just think that this would be such a fabulous gift that anyone would love to receive. Let me know your thoughts in the description bar below, or the little comment section, I should say. Don't forget that I do have affiliate links for all of the items you've seen here today. So if you do feel compelled to shop, then I invite you to use them. They help support my channel. And as I always say, I do hope that you can be inspired and be blessed. Thank you so much for watching. Ciao, ciao.